It's a catchy tune. When I got on, I was like,
All right. Yes, yes, yes. I am so excited. This is Erica Kessie with the Nashville Startup Grind Director, and I have Angela B. Chan here with me. She is the co-founder of Hackathon International, also a TEDx speaker, also what is it? Renowned hacker, right?
love the
And
names,
so
love the names.
so the most important thing that I want to mention about the time that I'm spending with Angela is this is a part of the Bridge series. It's important for um, Nashville to kind of interact with each other, all the different silos that are interacting in the world with the different entrepreneurs and the tech companies to interact with all of us interact together as a full force instead of in our silos. So that's why this is called the Bridge series, so that everybody can know about what Angela Chan is doing, what she's bringing to Nashville, Tennessee, and how it could benefit the entrepreneurs, the startups, the tech companies, and everything that's going on in the ecosystem. So, Angela, yes, yes, yes. Tell me I know this is the second time. So if you all go to YouTube, you can see another interview that I've had with Angela, and we talked a little bit more about her story, and for you all to get a good feel for her and understand where she's coming from. But give us, for those who didn't see that, tell us a little bit about you, the backstory a little bit, and then we can go into more things regarding Hackathon.
Yeah, so I don't come from like an IT engineering or, coding background. For me, I kind of, saw the world in a different landscape. I think like after school, I lived a year in France and then I went backpacking to a lot of countries around the world. I probably did around, say, almost 30 countries over 3 years. I have my 33 rule all the time whenever I get obsessed. So for me, I absolutely love travel. I love backpacking, seeing the world, exploring, being curious. And so when I kind of was finishing my university degree, I was like trying to find a job. It was super hard, like every other graduate. But I'd done a lot of freelancing. I've worked for a lot of not-for-profit organizations. And basically, I was just frustrated that I could not do something in my control, relying on other people. And being at Cancer Council, I knew there was such a big need to help people and their families and their support networks as well. So I talked to one of my friends and I said, hey, I think I want to develop an app of some sort to help raise money for charities. And she's like, actually, you don't have any business experience or technical experience, but you have a strong passion. And I was like, okay, so what should I do? So she told me to go to a hackathon. And so from there, I learned I've never run a business before. My parents are not entrepreneurs. They just are very community-based people. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like I met all these mentors who run their own businesses. I met a lot of executives from amazing companies. And so through that experience, me and my teammates created this very small like mock-up and working solution. We pitched it, we won our division, and then we went to the national competition and we had an absolute blast just learning about what the future holds. And for me, I was like, I'm not going to work in PR anymore and helping with the food and lifestyle kind of sector. For me, I wanted to use technology. And so fast forward a couple of years, I go to like another 30 hackathons over 3 years. I get to, just like Erica, like go through all the hoops and the meetups and, understanding, you're talking to all the speakers. I'm like, I want to understand what this whole world is. And I became a bit obsessed, but I think in a good way, like just understanding like, what are these entrepreneurs? What are these startups? Like, is a startup like, I thought my first instinct was a starter, like for bread, like yeast. And I was like, oh, like, quick example sounds pretty good. I do like to eat bread. I did live in France for a year. So I was like, okay, this is cool. So I started Hackathons Australia as a Facebook group, and then it just built out into offered event facilitation and organization. We did a lot of marketing and promotion. So promoting a lot of the talent that we had in Australia. Especially when COVID hit, everyone was like, oh, we can do everything around the world and be more inclusive. And I was like, yes, Australia's wonderful. But then I saw an opportunity to expand our horizons as well. So now with Hackathons International, we help create tech roles, job opportunities, just anything to do with tech and making that accessible for, the underserved community, for minority groups, for females, because I know for myself, it's always been very dominated, male dominated, especially. And so a lot of people kind of, sometimes I was actually, International Women's Day is coming up, right? So
Yes.
a lot of people always mistake me to be the intern or the person doing admin work. And at the start, I was just like, what is this? Like, I'm working. And so there's a
Wow.
lot in terms of going, okay, how can we elevate people who want to break those stereotypes, break those unconscious biases, and ensure that when we help people with their learning experience, with getting them into roles at companies that are forward thinking, that are flexible, that have sustainability goals, that we can go, hey, don't look at the traditional box, but look at beyond that. And how do you do that? So we definitely, partner. For example, we have this hackathon coming up on March 12th and 13th. And that's just all around how do we help the underserved communities. And we've partnered with 15 community groups, and in particular with Startup Grind as well. So having these strong partnerships has important for us. And Erica, you've been so helpful in hooking us up with like the Hustle to Business group and all these other groups that we definitely need to elevate more so that the next generation, they have role models, they understand what technology holds, what the future is, and also ensure that they have a responsibility to harness to create the future of what they want to see as well.
Okay. Well, I need to go back a couple things that you mentioned. First, you said that you enjoyed exploring and being curious. Tell me more about how that was honed in you and how that has translated into what you do now.
Yeah, I think for me, I fell in love with travel at a pretty young age, like going to France by myself, living there, straight after school. I think for me, it was, I was still a little, even though I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was still like growing a lot as a person. And through that, I was like, wow, there are people's perspectives. I learned how to empathize a lot. All I did
Mm,
was ask questions. I did not know how to speak any. And so I made myself, with every conversation, I tried to ask one question. Like sometimes just small milestones help you a lot. So asking questions like, why are things this way? Why do you say, particular sentences? And so for me, that has really handed itself to a lot of the innovation that we do now, because sometimes everyone's like, oh, creative, that's not me. But sometimes you don't need to be that, colorful creator,
yes.
about connecting the dots as well. So understanding, oh, like this has been done in Australia. Why can't we see how that fits into the US landscape? How do we tweak it a little bit? Because you might not think it's innovation, but a lot of innovation has been done many times, and that's why it works as well. So don't be afraid to be observant, ask questions, connect the dots. I always say it's a valuable thing.
Yes. That's why I wanted to bring that back up, because those characteristics that you have just intuitively in you, being curious, exploring, and then that caused you to be more empathetic. These are beautiful traits in creating anything and being a part of a community. So going back to what you said regarding your parents are, you said community-based people. They're not entrepreneurial, but they're community-based people. Can you talk more about having parents this way and how that has impacted you?
Yeah, I think like for us, it's never been what I found in the US. Everyone's about business models and making money and investing and that kind of thing.
Speak.
And did not come from that. I think in Australia it's just not like that. Even with involved in the local community, like training people around them, not just socializing with people their own age, but also people that are younger. They were involved in their church communities, so a lot of that was like getting embedded into like just a lot of the work that they did as well. Like my dad's works at a pharmacy, and so like he was in an area where a lot of people couldn't speak English very well. So he has it's incredible, and he knows like a little bit of Arabic here and there, and I'm like, Dad, how did you know that? But because he worked the same place for like 20 almost 30 years, like he got to know everyone really well. And I think for him, like he was born in Hong Kong. Both my parents moved to Wales when they were teenagers, and so having that ability to, I think for them, they had kind of parents in new places who took care of them, and a lot of it is also like we want to share this out. So I think especially for my parents, they know, like we always say in our family, you always have family around the world, and I think that's such a great thing to have. And
Yes.
actually like translating that into Hackathons International, all of us which is hilarious because this month February is Black History Month. We had Chinese New Year, so at our team meeting this month we talked really in depth about our roots, what we did with like family celebrations, what do we value. And so with our team it's always it was actually really nice because we had like a couple of new people in our team. It actually, like I like you asking these questions because it makes you who you are. And when it comes to going overseas, you always have a support network out there. We're all in the same boat out there, finding friends, family, support network. So I think that's a really great trait to have. And a lot of people moving to Nashville. So my trusted Uber drivers, 100 people a day. So I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat.
Yes. And going from maybe some of the values of being individualistic to more communal, well, you're kind of showing that with this. Like the whole theme behind Hackathon is you have to build a team. So you're teaching something that it's so hard sometimes for other people to understand how to even do just that first piece. So that's amazing. So something that you said, and I want to bring this up, was beautiful. You said tech for meaningful cause. Tell me specifically, like not just for Nashville that you're going to we're doing March the 12th through the 13th, but you've done tech for meaningful cause in other places. Can you talk about those other times that you have been able to actually facilitate that? That's ultimately what Hackathon is doing, is helping.
Yeah. I think like my first hackathon I went to, there was a guy and he was only 15 years old, and he was sponsored to fly to the US and to develop an app to help truck drivers with their safety in the evenings, because a lot of they've been driving for ages, and so just developing like satellite technology, making sure that you can see and access people. Like this was almost 10 years ago. So if you think about the technology back then to where it's now, it was definitely not there. So just small things like that that can really help, the safety of people who are at work. Those are just some small things to think about. Some other things is what I'm really passionate about is like inclusive design. So when it comes to technology that has been created previously, it's been created for males. A lot of the females, because they've been traditionally at home, they haven't had the accessibility to help co-create what solutions look like. So for example, when it comes to financial lending, you can develop algorithms, machine learning, automations that can, automatically approve small business grants, for example. say startup grind or any other business that you're in. And one bank in particular found that they were like, why are we mostly males and not females? Because that was one of the things that they used existing data that was from the past, obviously, from generations before, and they trained the machine so that using 10, 20 years ago obviously does not reflect on what the future looks like. So they had to do some tweaks going, okay, how can we make sure that we give also grants to females out there so that we could champion this for future generations. So there's a lot of responsibility when it comes to technology, not just looking at the past and using existing data, but also, what are those that look like for the future generations.
That's so good. That's so good. Yes. Wow. Wow. Inclusive design. So we can all look at, remember you talked about business practices and models. We all need to think about, is it inclusive? Is there inclusive design in every single thing that you're doing regarding your business? Interesting. Very interesting. Now, something that you mentioned was, I got obsessed. You said this twice. Obsessed. I got obsessed. Now, I love that you said that, because I think that sometimes we don't get obsessed about what we're about. And from what you've been telling me, you're about community, you're about exploring, being curious, you're about having solutions to things that are not, maybe need to be looked at more closely, and having individuals to come together with everybody's perspective to make that solution. So that's amazing that you would call it obsession, because most people want to say that obsession is not a positive thing, but it is. All of our parts are important, and it helps us to move in the direction that we need to move. So tell me more about your obsession with this work.
I always say, everyone always tells you, in the entrepreneurial world, you need to do something that you're passionate about, right?
Yes.
Everyone says, yes, do something that you're passionate about, that you love, something that you value. For me, it's persistence over passion. You need to be doing this for years and years and years, and you need to be honing that in.
Persistence over passion. Yes.
That's and I've been doing hackathons for over a decade. We started Hackathons Australia as a community group in 2014, almost 8 years. And the reason why everyone goes, oh, how did you land, Amazon as your first client in the US? Well, guess what? It's been 8 years of work. It's never been just an overnight success. It's always around persisting, making sure that you hustle hard, and making sure that you tell a story as well. Through a lot, and I get a lot of comments on my LinkedIn posts. People love to say, hey, we love following your journey, because sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not great, and that needs to be publicized. So there's always that misconception of hey, you're an overnight success. Nothing is an overnight success. It was probably 0.00001%. That's the unicorn.
I actually see that with a lot of tech companies. They sometimes are just built in order to sell. And so then what are you, so it's just the passion to get that done, to move on. But if you create something that you are totally can be persistent, it's like a dog with a bone. You're trying to get to it. Listen, that's how I am about what I do. People get mad at me sometimes because I keep bringing up the same thing. Is everything safe? Is it safe?
And so, it's not an easy journey. Just FYI, I think the reason why I've built up so much resilience is at hackathons, there are only 1 or 2 prizes up for grabs every single time. And the fact that I finished, reflected, see what I needed to do, identified my improvement areas, and went again and again and again, that's a secret sauce. Once you come down, even if you don't win, it's fine. The traditional saying is kind of you see all these shows like American Idol on TV, who actually is successful. In Australia, the winners are, they are the winners, but usually the people who come second, third, and fourth, they're the ones who have an elevated, like, longer term success because they work hard, they have the drive, they've been knocked back, but they will keep going on and on and on.
Yes. And you know what? That is not something that is taught often. The persistence of things and the resiliency. And it's so amazing that you would talk about like Black and brown people, women, you know, underrepresented individuals, because those are the persistent people. Those are the ones that no matter what blocks are put in the way, I still got to get out here. I got to eat. I got to hustle. I have to do it despite whatever comes in my way. And so if more innovation included that resiliency, we would have more long-standing change that happens for the world. Wow. And it's so exciting that one of the pursuits is to help with the maybe eliminating or trying to eliminate stigma and stereotypes that are there. So you said that somebody thought you was the intern. Listen, they always think I'm the secretary. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, I always try and respond in a very graceful way. But kind of like going, well, thank you for the biases. Like, how can we, I think like this is what we need to continuously teach ourselves as well. And brains are wired to think a particular way. And so when it comes to meeting someone, ask questions. Hi, who are you? What do you do during the week? Like, what's your perspective on this? Because this is my perspective. So I think just approaching it in a way that's more graceful, that's more encouraging, and to not base that would be good. And that's how industry changes. I also work in the engineering kind of sector, and a lot of that is the same thing. Like, okay, like it's only been the past 3 to 5 years that we've seen more leaders and managers who are females in this area, and to elevate those people is good. So then we can go, okay, what does that look like for the future of us? And that's actually the theme for International Women's Day this year. Break the bias.
Amazing. Something that I want to mention is, with you being community minded, you think about like who you are, but not what you do, because it's who you are is more important than what you do. If you got a good grasp of who you are, you could do many things, but it matters on who you are. And so going back to talking about stigmas and stereotypes, everything's so aligned to giving you a role, like you're the role of this and you're the role of this, when I am more than that. I mean, I even think of that way regarding my race. I'm more than a Black woman. I am a being. I am, so much more than just this box you want to put me in because you want to put a term on me. And so this is amazing. So let's talk a little bit more about the logistical pieces of Hackathon and what it'd be like for people to, register and sign up, and what would the day look like and all those kind of things.
Yeah, so the hackathons right after International Women's Day on March 12th and 13th. But what we're doing 2 days before on the Thursday is a soft launch. And so this soft launch is super important because we'll be going through all the logistics of the hackathon. We'll go through the agenda step by step. It's from 5:30 to 7 p.m. and you can dial in online or you can come in person to the new offices at Amazon. And I think this is the first time Amazon's opening up their space to an external partner. So this is like very exciting. So that's a compulsory thing. For the rest of the hackathon, we do require everyone to dial in at the start. So around from like, if you're dialing in online at 9:30, if you're coming in person, come at 9. So from 9 to around 11, we want you to be with that. We have a great keynote speaker, so that to be revealed. And then what we'll do after that is get everyone into teams. So if you already have a team, you can start working straight away, which is the social determinants of health. So it's around ensuring that this is the World Health Organization framework where we are pursuing Healthy People 2030 and how and help the underserved communities there. So during that, say at the morning on Saturday, we'll get everyone into teams. We'll be networking, etc., etc. And then for the rest of the time, you can come in and out for as much or as little as you want. But it's really up to you what you want to put in with your team. And the output is, so on Sunday, we'll get everyone back in the room, everyone back online, and we'll be watching everyone's video pictures. And the judges will be there to ask questions and at least be there to answer questions. So in between the Saturday morning and the Sunday afternoon, we'll have 3 workshops. And normally in the team at a hackathon, you have your hustler, the hipster, and your hacker. So the hustler being the business person, the hipster being the creative design person who looks after the user experience, and the hacker is more like the coder or the software development engineer. And we'll have 3 workshops that all the team should go to. So the whole team doesn't have to go to all of them. You should send one person to each of these. And the reason why there's 3 is because you can divide and conquer, right? So one person goes to the technology one, the other one goes to the more design one, and the other one could go to the understanding like the pitch and everything. So that's how it's all panned out. So it's super easy. You don't have to be there for the whole weekend, but we definitely encourage you to dial in on that. Will be recorded. All the sessions will be recorded, so you can listen to them later. But but we like definitely will need you. Like, would love to have you there on the Thursday evening or 5:30 to 7. Saturday morning, just to listen to the keynote, understand what those challenge statements are, and at the end, at least having one person to, we're going to play the presentations. Someone needs to be there to answer the questions from the judges, and then the winners will be revealed.
All right. I don't know if anybody else got it all, but I got it all. I'm so excited. Like, as I was sitting there thinking about it, I was thinking about, okay, this person could be on my team and this person, and we can split it up.
It's all good. And like with your ticket includes, if you come in person, we've got meals provided for the Saturday lunch and dinner, Sunday lunch as well. And then if you're in person, we'll give you an Uber Eats voucher for the Saturday. So you definitely get your money's worth. You get to network with, we have a lot of mentors from Amazon and from Meharry. So if you want to look into, using their technology, getting connected in the ecosystem, we have 15 community partners. So if you want to get plugged into Nashville and Tennessee, we've got all the right people.
Yes. Wow, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's so exciting. I don't know. I'm excited, but I love new things. That's one of my qualities. Like anything new, I'm like, oh, what is that about? Okay. And I'm very curious. I mean, being trained as a therapist, I just like to I'm a little nosy.
That's a great quality. You're gonna nail it. You're gonna nail it.
And I'm really good at asking questions like, what is that and what is this? And it helps people to really think through the whole thing. But I am so excited about Hackathon International coming to Nashville, Tennessee, or already here in Nashville, Tennessee, March the 12th through the 13th. And go ahead and get your tickets. It's on the website. What's the website?
So it's hackathoninternational.com/HackTN. So Hack Tennessee, HackTN.
I'm going to put it in here for people.
And we've got like a Facebook group and a page, and also LinkedIn as well. So there's a lot of people attending on our LinkedIn page. So make sure you also get in there. Register early because we're going to have like perks. We've already launched one perk for our participants already. So there'll be, for example, gift vouchers and maybe mentoring sessions. So that's already in the pipeline. So get your tickets early. And you get to get invited into our Slack group. So you can start. I've already put some data in there. We've got a data directory supplied by Meharry with all the links. So there's a lot in there to get you started.
This is so amazing. All right. So is there anything else that you wanted to announce or say about you and about Hackathon International? Where is it going after Nashville, Tennessee, or anything else that you wanted to share?
Yeah, so after Hack Tennessee, we'll be running Hack for Hire. So that's specific to Amazon. So anyone who wants to enroll at Amazon, we'll be launching that. That'll be hopefully coming up in May. So we're just finalizing those dates now. So that'll be very exciting. And then with other cities and states, if there's anything out there that you feel like is a high growth area, let me know. Get in touch with me.
I do actually. So we can talk offline about that. Yes, interesting. Sounds great. And so if anyone wants to interact with you, would they go to the website as well and hit contact us?
Yep, absolutely. That will come to me, or you can just email me, Angela at hackathoninternational.com.
Okay, Angela. Let me just put that in here. Angela at hackathoninternational.com. So I'm so excited that you have come back to spend time with us. And that actually, it's really important for people to know, like, and trust, the individuals, and that kind of sparks them to want to make a move and to do something. And so is there anything that you want to share that's kind of like fun about you that no one would know?
Oh, interesting. I'm like a secret nonna, so I love making pasta, and I host like pasta making classes at my house. So if anyone's keen.
Really? So you make pasta from scratch?
Oh yeah, it's so easy. Like I have a simple pasta machine. Back at home, I got it for $7 at Kmart. Like it's the best. So, and I'm like, this is really easy. My secret weapon.
Is it a pasta machine? That's amazing. I love it. Well, everybody got something to say about pasta these days and breads and carbs, But listen, I love it. Ooh, and you know what? Kids will probably love to make spaghetti, right? That'd be fun. Teach them how to make.
Yeah, that's a crowd favorite.
Right, of course.
Bowl.
Well, thank you so much, Angela, for coming again. And I thank you for actually asking me to me and Nashville Startup Drive to be community partner for Hackathon International. It's my pleasure. I will continue to do all that we need to do in order for you to get the ticket sales that you need. I'm really excited about that and happy to have this collaboration that we have. And anything else that you want to come back, and if there's, I'll take it back anytime. So thank you so much for today. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Erica.